the master of ceremonies, Jenny.
I'm glad the video's off. So let me just start the recording. All right, we are recording. I call this meeting of the Board of Selectmen to order at 7 p.m. First item of business is the reorganization of the Board of Selectmen. May I have a nomination for chairman?
I nominate Bob Sikansky.
Second.
And I have a second from Jonathan. Roll call. Keep.
Yes, aye.
Wysocki.
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously, so I'll turn the meeting over to our new chairman, Sikansky.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. Thank you very much, Stan.
Congratulations, Bob.
Thank you.
Just so
And
you
Stan,
know,
congratulations to you too for passing this on.
well, just so you know, the mobile surgical unit is outside your house. The operation experiment is quick. It's relatively painless. And I've done it 5 times now. I've got a flap installed so they can go do it real fast. So,
All right.
so after the meeting, they'll take care of it for you.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, your first order of business is to seek a nomination for clerk.
And go ahead, Don.
No, I was just going to say your first order of business is to seek a nomination for a clerk from either
Okay.
Jonathan.
I nominate Jonathan Keep as clerk.
I'll second that.
Roll call.
Roll call.
I want all those in favor signify by saying aye. And
Aye. There you go. Thank you.
Aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
all right,
Keep.
roll.
Aye.
Wysocki.
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
All right. So now we have our new world, Mr. Chairman, and you're ready to move on to the next item on the agenda.
All right. Thank you. Next on the agenda is an update on Prospective Mass Works project for the upcoming year. And I believe we're going to have as a guest Mr. Tom Laughlin of Beta Construction.
Yes, Mr. Laughlin is an engineer that's been working with us for quite some time. He worked with us on the current MassWorks project, which I swear is coming to a close. But we're focusing on our next application. So the purpose for tonight is to have Tom in to discuss the process and to talk about what the goals are for the next MassWorks project. And the main thing is to agree on A, that we should be applying for another grant, and B, what the target location should be. And yes, I think we all agree that we should apply for another grant. And our assumption is that the target location should be the intersection of 117 at Forbush Mill and Green, where Neshoba Regional High School is. And the purpose for the grant would be to have a positive impact in public safety, to improve the flow of traffic, to have traffic flow through more safely, and to make it a safer environment for the students to be able, not students, anybody else, to cross 117 at that intersection. So, Tom, would you like to give the selectmen a summary, please?
Certainly. I can begin with just kind of some time ago, I think maybe about 1.5 years ago, we kind of talked about this program. As a small community, Bolton is eligible for a $1 million grant from MassWorks every year, with the purpose of the grant in order to improve safety and infrastructure somewhere within the town. Good projects that are highly eligible are typically bridges, culvert replacements, intersections, known safety issues, and things like that. The intersection that Don mentioned that's coming to completion down at Wattaquatic Hill, that was awarded a grant based on the fact that your fire department and public safety officials have difficulty getting out to Main Street, as well as the let's call it indecisiveness of the drivers passing through there because they're not really sure of who has the right of way or who should have the right of way. The other intersection here at 117 and 4 Bush Road and Green Road has been talked about. You may or may not remember, this is an intersection that Bolton applied for, I think, 3 years ago, Don, but you might know
you're right.
better. I do believe that I think with some improvement in the application, we could make this a location that would be desirable and rank highly in their scoring. So what you're seeing here, we have looked at 2 concepts for this intersection. Intersections are required to meet what's called warrants before a traffic signal can be installed. This concept is the layout of a traffic signal. I can't make that screen any bigger, but essentially what would happen here, and let me describe what you're looking at, is the red dotted lines on towards the out. Yep. Thank you, Jenny. Those are the town layout. So you own everything inside of those red dotted lines. The darker black lines are what we're proposing as edges of roadway, edges of sidewalk. You can see crosswalk patterns in there. And then across the middle, in between the crosswalks, you'll see mast arm and arrows. Those arrows are signal heads. So this is a concept, again, that would show a traffic signal. It would help to slow traffic down, provide designation for the users, just like we did down at Wattaquatic Hill Road. Very clearly defined now where the left turning vehicle is supposed to be, the through movement, where you're supposed to park, and where a pedestrian should be walking, and bicyclists as well. For future improvements, we didn't mark those right now, but the width is there in order to include bike accommodation. This plan, as you can see, reduces the overall pavement width, which we believe is a problem here. The pavement is very wide in this area. Drivers feel that they can drive faster because there are no barriers or obstructions to their sight or to their desire to go faster. Vertical granite curbing does a lot to slow vehicles down. They would do anything to not avoid damaging their tire, but slowing down for other things, pedestrians and whatnot, don't seem to be high on drivers' lists a lot of times. So as Dawn said, this is one concept, and our main focus here tonight is to really agree that this is the location, and to not necessarily agree on the concept that we go for, unless of course you know what that is. And maybe Jenny, you could move to the next slide, or the concept. So another concept that we looked at is what's called a modern roundabout. You have a few in the area that maybe you drive. The difference between what I'm calling a modern roundabout and a rotary is the size of the diameter of the inner circle of the roundabout. So roundabouts, the intent of roundabouts is to kind of slow drivers down as they approach the inner circle and have to deflect around that inner circle. Thereby slowing down, thereby giving gaps to other drivers, and kind of forming a continuous flow of traffic at a lower rate of speed. These, they operate very well. They process a lot of traffic, keep things moving. In this location, well, I should say that there are many options as to where this circle could go at this location. However, through the grant program, eliminating the need for right-of-way is a critical selection criteria for MassWorks. So if you need right-of-way for a project, they're going to ask you to go get that right-of-way first and then award you a project in a later year. So the way to get a grant is to just avoid as many hurdles as possible. Right-of-way, utilities, permitting are the three kind of big issues. So we have moved this inner circle, which is, you can see the most inner circle with a kind of a brick pattern around the outside of that. When I refer to the inner circle, that's what I'm talking about. We have moved that as far to the west as we can in order to get all of the other lanes and items to work properly. It may not be the best location for that circle in terms of the movements that need to occur to get to the school. If you were driving east, you'd have to go around the circle almost 3/4 of the way and then take a hard right turn to come back down to the school. What's unique about this roundabout, and as you can see, it almost, well, not almost, it does actually take more pavement to do this than what's out there today in some areas, and especially to the east of the lower portion of this on the DPW parcel. We are coming into that a little bit more. But the reason for that is these brick patterns that are both around the inner circle and on the outside. Those are typically areas that we use a textured concrete or brick patterns. They're there so that larger trucks can drive over them and make their turning movements appropriate, and not drive over the middle or end up ripping something else out of the ground. So because of the configuration of this, it makes the pavement area wider. And coming down 117, it may not really change the look of 117 that much, but it will slow down traffic moving through it. As long as they follow along their path and not go across these rumble strips or these the pavement, the brick areas that we have in place. There's not a lot of difference in level of service, meaning in the capacity of the intersection between the two. There certainly is strong personal opinions about both of them in any town that we've proposed these in, and that could be a factor in how you decide. But again, to really get to which one is best for Bolton or which one is best for this location would require a few things. It would require a little more traffic analysis that would be paid for through the grant. It would require input from yourselves as well as citizens, most likely the school, and to kind of gel that all together and come up with the best solution for Bolton. I would recommend that we possibly choose one, and if my recommendation would be to choose the traffic signal, and I can explain why, but to choose that as part of an application, and if the numbers work out where a roundabout is what fits best safety and aesthetics for Bolton, then that could certainly be changed during the design process. The reason I prefer the traffic signal is you're directly adjacent to the school. You have a number of crossings at this location. A roundabout is going to slow vehicles down and allow pedestrians to cross, but it's not going to require the car to stop. There's going to have to be that interaction between the driver and the pedestrian, where they recognize each other, the driver stops, allows the pedestrian to come across, and that interaction has to happen in both directions as well. So it's not just one car stopping, it's two car stopping to make that happen. The difference with the traffic signal, of course, is the pedestrian has the ability to press a pedestrian button, in a sense, wait their turn, get a protected crossing, and come across and be safe about it.
And Tom, I just like to point out again for the committee that unless everyone is totally comfortable tonight with something, we don't have a need to identify which design we would go forward with in order to proceed with the grant. But I think a key point is that the only way we get a guaranteed stoppage of traffic where people can safely use a crosswalk would be with the lighted intersection and not with the roundabout.
Yeah, so that's very true. I mean, the difference between roundabouts and signals, it varies quite a bit with every single user. The driver of a car, the rider of a bicycle, a walking pedestrian. Each of those users, depending on age in a lot of cases, have differing opinions about their ability to navigate, whether they like it, don't like it. I know a lot of bicyclists that love roundabouts. I know a lot of pedestrians that are younger, mid-age, that would prefer not to press the button because it interrupts traffic and they can find their own gap to go across. But those aren't the needs of everyone. Young children, older adults who have a slower pace, or someone who also is low vision, or uses a wheelchair, has different needs to come across the roadway.
Mm-hmm. So again, the main purpose for tonight is to get to the selectmen's agreement and vote that we should proceed with the MassWorks grant application, and that this is the target area that we should be pursuing. Correct, Tom?
Yes, I don't know of another location that I would recommend to you. You have other locations, right? You have the location up near the farm, up further east on 117. I don't think it's your most critical location. Out at 495, those signals don't work as well as they should, but you don't own them, and I wouldn't spend money on them. Those are the states.
In all the years that I've been here and before me, the safety issue in the area of the high school has been huge, and people have been concerned, and rightly so, for years. And I think this is our opportunity to have a really positive impact on the safety of all the pedestrians in this area.
I don't have any questions. Stan or Jonathan, do you have any questions, comments?
Nope. I think this is the intersection that it's critical in terms of accidents, and also, students running across to Classic Pizza, as well as just people going to the soccer fields and the transfer station. So it's a busy intersection. So I support this site and, the grant application, going ahead with that.
Stan? Stan still with us?
It appears that he is rejoining. He must have gotten kicked out.
That's what happens when he doesn't have that unit outside his house.
I know. It's on its way to North Road.
I've unmuted him a couple of times and he's remuted, so I bet he's getting his other connection going.
All right, Jonathan, would you like to? Should we wait, or let's give him another minute?
Okay.
Stan, you just came onto my screen. Stan is there
I
now.
see him.
Yep.
All right, Stan, do you have any comments or questions?
Stan, we can see you. We can't hear you.
Jenny, does he appear to be muted?
No, he doesn't.
He is not muted, but he usually gets his audio through another source. And that second link, the phone link, I don't see.
Is Stan good at charades? Could we?
Good at dancing.
Are Give us a thumbs up if you are good with the selection of the intersection in front of the high school as a good choice for the grant proposal. I think that was a yes.
Okay, I don't see anything, but all right.
Oh, wait, he said 1 second. He said 1 second. I'm bad at charades.
Stan, it looks like Stan likes the traffic signal option.
Ah, good job, Jonathan.
Wow. You,
That's what you've been doing during quarantine, is playing charades.
Lip reading, yes. So I'll make a motion in support of this location and a motion to apply for the MassWorks grant.
I will second that. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye, thumbs up.
All opposed?
Roll call. Keep.
Aye.
Wysocki. I see a thumbs up. Sikansky.
Aye.
And maybe we should, I like the Rotary, but maybe we should let the engineers work on it more. I don't know what your feelings are, Bob.
Well, again, at this point, I have questions. Let's go ahead with the lights and see if any serious issues come out.
One thing that I would like to clarify for you, you do have plenty of time to make the decision. We can even submit the grant without a final intersection design. And once, if we get grant approval, then we can declare which way we're going to go. It would also give us the opportunity, if the board wanted to get public input on it before there was a final.
Mhm.
So
So that doesn't affect the strength of the grant application?
no, it does not.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
I can
All
hear
right,
you.
great. Well, thanks. I apologize for my own technical difficulties, but the problem I have with the Rotary is this Rotary is about the same size as the Rotary that's on Route 70 when you come up to Route 2 from the south side. That's a really small Rotary. And you can see all the tire marks from the tractor trailers and the big vehicles in what would be the concrete area. If you look at coming up Forbush Mill Road and trying to make a right onto Green Road, that's a hard right. If you look at going west on 117 to get to the Rotary, you actually have to make a right-hand turn to get into the Rotary. I think this Rotary is completely inappropriate for this spot. Obviously, if we could take more land and make the Rotary bigger, then it might possibly work. But I don't think that this Rotary of this size in this space works. I think it's much better to do the traffic signals at this point. If you want to enter into discussion with the district of taking some land to make the thing bigger, then that's fine. But as it stands now, I think the traffic signal is a better approach.
Yeah, my issue with both of them is the fact that Green Road just flows into both of them, and yeah. So, we don't have to pick one tonight, so I don't think we need to dwell on which one's better.
yeah, if I could mention something, Stan makes a very good point, though. Your experience in these is critical. We all understand traffic signals. We've been around them enough in our lives. We've seen big ones, small ones, everything else like that. Modern roundabouts are newer. And if this run here, Route 70 and Route 2, is something that is not desirable, then I would suggest that you look at that one. Maybe you look at others, and become a little more educated about the way you experience the roundabout. We can take a look at Route 70 and Route 2, compare that circle to the size of this one and get back to Dawn about its comparative, diameter and stuff like that. Give you a feel for, is this one bigger, smaller, or whatever. There's minimum widths and there's maximum widths that you would use for single lane, such as this one. So it's probably close as long as that one's single lane, but I'm going to take a look at that one and report back to Dawn about what it is.
Yeah, I guess the only other comparable one is the one in Berlin outside of the mall.
Yeah, I'm aware of that one too. Yeah, we can look at that. But again, that experience, not only as a driver, it wouldn't be worth, I think it would be worth to experience it as a pedestrian as well. Park your car, try to cross, get that feeling.
So if you look at the the red lines, it looks like we have more space to make the circle bigger. I've heard a lot of public support and read it, online for a rotary for this intersection. So I think it would be good to kind of float both ideas and see what type of feedback we get.
I would hate to see the selectmen walking, any of the selectmen walking the one at Route 70 and Route 2. I'd hate to lose any of the three selectmen. That's a pretty,
That's very touching, Don. Thank you.
and it's not meant for pedestrian traffic in that spot. So
Yeah. Well, if this one is roughly the same size as the one at Route 70 and 2, that's a horrible traffic circle, and they get far less traffic. And I go up there quite a bit, and with the minimal traffic that there is, it's a nightmare. It is an absolute nightmare. And when we're talking about that amount of traffic versus the 22 or 23,000 cars we get on 117 every day, I can't see that this would even be feasible. But let's go through the analysis.
Yep, exactly. Yeah. So if you're fortunate to win the grant, that is what we would do on both of them. We
Exactly.
let's get through a simulation and show you what the queuing is, how the drivers are projected to react to it and everything else like that.
Exactly.
we will have Tom back at a future meeting, probably in August, but certainly a future meeting to discuss this further.
Sounds good.
Great. Thank you,
All
Tom.
right. Thank you very much, Tom.
Thanks,
Okay.
Tom.
Yep. Take care.
Next on our agenda is an update from the Community Choice Aggregation Subcommittee. Sharon Shepler joining us.
We have Sharon, Lynn, and John. Let me just unmute them all.
Welcome.
Welcome, thank you. So John Petrin, I'll be speaking for the committee. I know our chairman, Lynn Dishler, is on as well at this point, and there's Sharon. I see she's up as well. So we just like to make a brief report to the board and a request to the board this evening. So the Community Choice Aggregation Subcommittee, as you know, has been working this year to move forward. Article 22 was passed at the annual town meeting, allowing us to move forward with community choice aggregation. The process is such that we need town meeting approval first, which we got. That's step one. Now step two is to select a broker. Step three would be develop a plan for Bolton. That would include public comment, input from the Board of Selectmen, and a Board of Selectmen would review. The Board of Selectmen would then approve that plan to be submitted to the state. The plan gets approved by the state through the Attorney General's office, the Department of Energy Resources, and the Department of Public Utilities. All that's about a year process, by the way. This is not short term. It'll take about a year for that. Once we have approval from the state, an RFP will finally be issued for a supplier for electricity. The town, through the board, will then select that supplier, and we will be able to move forward to launch that plan. So that's the big scope, of the work plan. So 8 steps. We're in step number 2 at this point, and to select a broker. What we're requesting, we have voted as a subcommittee to recommend that the selectmen approve the hiring of a broker, a firm called Colonial Power Group out of Marlborough. there's one of two ways to go with this. You can do a full RFP and select groups that are out there, and you'll get probably 4 or 5 requests, responses to that RFP. But the one company that's been doing it, they have many of the clients in the state, and they service the communities around us. We've done background checks, and I think the selectmen know, I'm a retired town administrator. I have worked with Colonial Power Group in 2 of my communities that I was in, Ashland and Burlington. So I have familiarity with the group. They have come in, they gave us a lot of free assistance in the beginning when we were forming as a committee. They met with us and gave us a lot of information. So we would like to recommend to the selectmen that we do not go the RFP route. It's not required under this. You're allowed to select a sole source in this situation and go with one group. And we're recommending you go with them. They do provide Berlin, Harvard, and Lancaster, our neighboring communities, as well as the many of the communities that are outside that scope. They are local in the sense they're in Marlboro. They're easy reach. And they were the first group broker in the state to develop this aggregation program. So they have the experience, they have the capacity, and having worked with them in 2 other communities, I could tell you, you'll have minimum issues, with them implementing the plan on behalf of Bolton moving forward. So that's our brief report. At this
No,
point, we're certainly
good.
open for questions.
No, you covered a lot of ground. Thank you. Thank you. Jonathan, Stan, any comments or questions?
I'm fine with the recommendation.
I'm fine with the recommendation as well.
I'm
Make a
fine.
motion-
Can we
Make
have
a
a motion?
motion to approve. The broker would be Colonial Power Group.
I'll second that.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
All right.
Aye. Roll
Roll
call.
call, Keep,
Aye.
Wysocki,
All right.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Mr.
All
Chairman,
right, then.
thank you very much to the board. The next step will be, we'll work with the town administrator to set up a meeting with Colonial Power Group to review a contract between the town and the broker. That will come to the board for a final approval. And then we'll actually begin the process of developing the plan for the town of Bolton and what are the components of that plan. Looking at, in particular, the green energy component. What are we looking for, as part of this? And so that's where we start getting the input to develop that plan and move forward. So we thank you very much for your support on this.
Great. Thank you.
For your work.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much, John. You and
Thank you.
and the others have done a lot of work, and it showed at town meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, next, an update from the Mosquito Response Committee.
Dr. Clark is with us this morning. I believe she's going to give the update.
Hi. So update is, I guess, just to go over where we're at, that the point of the commission was to develop a plan of action on how to deal with mosquito control in both a proactive, preventative way, as well as how to react when there's a problem detected. We researched lots of different companies, lots of different options and what the needs of the town and residents were, and ultimately came up with the Central Mass Mosquito Control Program, which was supported at the town meeting to join that. And they can kind of provide us with all of the things that we need to try to help minimize the risk or slightly lower the risk of Triple E and other mosquito-borne diseases. So I guess the next step is to sort of give the authority to the Board of Health in decision making, so that they're the liaison and decision maker with the Central Mass Mosquito Commission based on information that comes from their trapping and screening of the mosquitoes in town and what's out there in towns around us, so that we can decide how we need to react to the situation. There are decisions sometimes that will need to be made quickly, and so I think having a sole person in charge of, or sole small group in charge of making that decision and interacting with Central Mass Mosquito is a important thing. As was presented at the town meeting, we had defined 4 different threat levels and how we think the general approach, so sort of guidelines on how we would approach our dealings with Central Mass Mosquito and when to recommend spraying of town property versus not spraying town property, depending on what the threat level is out there for mosquitoes in our town. So we sort of came up with a general guideline, and we're hoping that everyone is okay with that. And we can, I think it's important for the people who helped on this to continue helping support information pushes and education to the town and residents so that they can really understand the details of the program, because it is a little bit complex and there's a lot of misunderstanding about what might happen. But I think it's a good program. And we have
Okay, thank you. Any comments or questions?
Not for me. I'm good.
Yeah,
The other piece for tonight, Mr. Chairman, is the vote, the subcommittee did vote to disband. And since the Board of Selectmen created the subcommittee, the Board of Selectmen also would need to vote to disband the committee.
Okay, I have a couple of questions. There are a couple emails that came out this week. It seemed to indicate that the only spraying that would be going on in town, at least short term, is based if someone calls and requests spraying.
Correct.
Is that an accurate interpretation of the email that came out?
That is a very accurate interpretation. So at this time, it is solely based on property owner requests for spraying. They don't spray unless there is enough requests. And if in the entire town of Bolton, I think only one property were to request spraying, I don't think they would send a truck out to spray one single property.
Okay. But people should contact the mosquito control group in Westboro directly.
Correct. To either
Not
put themselves on a
the
no
Board of
spray.
Health, but okay.
Yeah, I mean, Board of Health can help direct them on where they need to go for links. I think I believe the website was updated with links and information on directing people to Central Mass Mosquito, especially for the people who are adamant about being on a no spray list. They're, organic farmers, bee farmers, whatever reasons they have, that that needs to get done, so that in an event when we hit a level 4 threat and we're recommending townwide spraying, still, if that's all ground spraying, and if there are people who are on a no spray list, they will never be sprayed from the
Okay.
ground trucks.
Okay, thank you.
so I just,
Clarifying that.
Don, you participated in the committee process, and I think it would be a good idea if you were working in coordination with the Board of Health going forward with this program.
No, I agree. I'll work any coordination, any logistic issues that the Board of Health needs. I'll be there. I mean, Kristen Zena supports the Board of Health, so when we get notified, I'm sure Kristen will be reaching out to me as well, and I'll have whatever level of involvement is needed.
Do we need to vote on that, or that's just a given?
It's just a given.
Yeah.
Absolutely do that.
Okay, well, can we have a motion then to thank the Mosquito Response Committee for their work and to recommend that they, and to officially disband them?
So moved.
Second,
All
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye.
aye.
Roll call. Keep,
aye.
Waisaki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Clark.
Thank you.
Now for the highlight of the evening, this would be the town administrator report.
Well,
Aye.
I'll try to live up to expectations. So first, the COVID-19 update. Really, the major milestone this week is we had the full reopening. We have been open to the public without requirement of appointment since Monday morning. We still encourage people to use all of the online services that they've been using. What was interesting was we didn't have many people come in Monday. The ones that did all seemed to, it was almost like they rode together, although they really didn't. It seemed like they all showed up right around the same time, but it was very orderly. It was fine. We've had a good first week. We have not had a lot of people in. I do believe people are continuing to avail themselves of the online services. I think, a positive that came out of us being closed is, we're able to educate people more on what they can do online and the different, the flexibility that we have, and people seem to like that. But business is continuing to get done, and the town hall is open without restrictions. We use the meeting room during the day for very small groups, 2-3 people. It's not open to public meetings yet, but aside from that, we're pretty much back in business. So very excited about that. The staff is excited about that. As far as the MassWorks, the FY20 MassWorks grant goes, as I emailed you earlier in the week, there's been yet another delay in the mast arms. I personally have been given a new date for which they're supposed to be in. I'm not telling anybody because I refuse to give out another date that's not going to be met. So you'd have to inject me with truth serum before I tell anybody. But when I know that the mast arms are in Massachusetts, I will send out an email to the board letting you know that they're in and what the new installation date is. And I am working with Tom Laughlin on that.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you very much. Any
And
questions or comments?
Don, when are other things opening up? Do you know, like the library?
I exchanged an email with Kelly today as far as the library goes. Their current process, Kelly and the trustees feel is working well. They'd like to proceed slowly, so I think they're looking at probably another couple of weeks of status quo. The DPW office is open for people to come in when Leslie is available. But again, same expectations as town hall. People need to wear their face coverings. Excuse me. And currently no change with the public safety building. So making slow progress. I think it's been proven that slow progress is the best way to go. And so we're erring on the side of caution, but we are moving forward.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Next on our agenda is Board of Selectmen business. Does anybody have any public service announcements?
Yes, I do. I would like to make sure that people understand that when you're at the transfer station, masks are required. We have a great level of compliance with that. I was at the transfer station yesterday and it was quite busy, and almost everyone was wearing a mask with the exception of one individual when I was there. I've had to actually speak to a few individuals in prior weeks about the requirement to wear masks. This is not an option. Our DPW director has requested this, and we'd like people to comply. This is a little bit different than not putting a sticker on your garbage when you throw it out, and you're costing the town $1.50 or $2.50 for a sticker. This is people's lives. While we're considering loosening stuff, you've seen in the news, the infection rate continues to spike. Areas of the country where they have loosened up restrictions, there's a spike in infections. So please be considerate of your neighbors. When you come to the transfer station, please wear a mask. We're going to ask that of everybody. We will monitor the situation, but at some point in time, the governor had proposed a $300 fine for people who don't wear a mask where masks are required. We're looking into that. We want to educate the folks in town, but at some point, if there's non-compliance, personally gonna push that we enforce that kind of restriction and enforce that kind of a fine and fine people for not wearing a mask. So please, this is for your health and everybody's health in the town. So please comply. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we need to look at the end of year budget transfers. This is a list of recommended items from the, I believe this has been approved by the advisory committee.
I believe it has as well.
Okay,
It actually goes to they haven't signed it yet. I know they've reviewed it, but they haven't met about it until next Tuesday.
okay.
Yeah, we have an agreement in principle, but they haven't been able to meet to sign it.
All right, and there's no issue with us approving it first?
No, not at all.
Are
I'm
there
fine.
any-
I'm fine with it.
Okay,
So
Jonathan,
the sewer amount, is that for, that's for over at the school?
It is for over at the school, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And then the other insurances, that's, what is that?
It's basically other than building, I believe it's liability. It is, Jenny, please help me, I'm drawing a blank. It's not health and it's not property. It is other than that. I'm struggling to come up with some of the line items right now.
But it's access that they had, right?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
It's access that they had that we don't need for this fiscal year that we want to transfer over to snow. and
Right.
ice.
Right. No, well, I think what Jonathan's asking about is the building insurance to other insurances. We have a section called other insurances, and I'm just drawing a blank on what falls under that.
Okay.
I'm
Sorry
fine
about
with
that.
it.
so do we have a motion to approve the end of year transfers, fiscal end of year transfers as presented?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Roll call, Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye. All right, thank you. Next item is to approve longevity pay for service to employees with over 20 years of service. Don, do you want to do a little explanation of this, please?
Yes, I'd be happy to. So it is in the town bylaws that at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen, over and above the normal longevity that people get per our personnel policies, employees that have been with us for in excess of 20 years can be granted an extra $100 by the Board of Selectmen. This year, we have 4 employees. Police Chief Warren Nelson, who's been with us for 27 years. Library Director Kelly Collins, who's been with us 22 years. Lorraine Kenny, Police Chief's Assistant, who has also been with us 22 years, and Donna Farnsworth with the DPW, who's been with us for 21 years.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve the, motion to approve longevity pay for employees with over 20 years of service.
Second that.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Roll call, Keep,
Aye.
Waisaki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
And I'd like to just to chime in, thank you very much for those 4 individuals for hanging in with us for all those years. Those folks have done a great job and we greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much, all of you.
Okay. We did have an agenda item to talk about weed control in town. That topic is going to be deferred to the August 20th meeting.
Okay.
So the next item on the agenda is the appointment of James Barr as associate member of the planning board. My understanding is that Mr. Barr is currently an associate member of the planning board, and this is a process of reappointing him to a 1-year term, which is normal for the associate member.
Is there a requirement to advertise the position?
No, there is not.
Okay. then
Do I
I'm
have a
fine with it.
motion?
I'll make a motion. We approve Mr. Barr to the planning board.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
All right.
Aye. All those opposed?
Roll call, Keith,
aye.
Waisaki,
All right.
Sikansky.
Aye. Next is the appointment of Pamela Johnson as Assistant Animal Control Officer. There was some discussion that Ms. Johnson would be joining us this evening.
I am
There
here.
she is.
Oh, hello, welcome.
How are you?
I'm very well. How is everybody? Good evening.
Great.
Good, thank you. Can you
Mr.
just
Chairman,
share a
we
little bit?
conducted interviews,
Okay,
actually. We didn't anticipate that the process would go as swiftly as it did. So we're totally fine with adding this to the agenda at the last minute. So we conducted interviews today. And Pam gave an extremely strong interview. The three of us on the interview committee were all extremely impressed with her. Kristen Noel extended the job offer to her. She accepted. We're very happy that she accepted, and we, on behalf of the interviewing committee, highly recommend that the selectmen vote to appoint her before she changes her mind.
It won't happen.
Good.
all right, thank you. Can you give us a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been in Bolton 4 years now. I live over on Wattaquatic Hill Road, right by Fotini's. I run my own business called House of Dogs, where we do some boarding, fostering. I'm a certified dog trainer, certified groomer. I have about 15 years of dog rescue experience under my belt. I currently volunteer for 4 rescue leagues, helping them evaluate dogs, bully breeds, trying to deem them adoptable or unadoptable. I've done a lot of rescues, a lot of transports, saving dogs from unsafe situations. So I've been doing it for a little while. It's my life's work, so to speak. It's dogs 24/7 for me.
Excellent, excellent.
How do you feel about cats?
I don't have any problem with cats, and if I could have a cat and my partner was not allergic to them, we would have one.
Okay, good.
That's great.
Thank you. Could we have a motion to appoint Ms. Johnson as the Assistant Animal Control Officer?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed?
Roll call, Keith,
aye.
Waisaki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very
Welcome.
much. We appreciate it.
Thank you, everybody. I
Thank you.
appreciate it. Thank you. Have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is the approval of bills and payroll warrants, W 20-27 and W 20-27A. I have a question. The selectmen voted to give Stan the authority to sign when he was chairman. Do we need to vote again?
It would make sense to have it follow the chair. You
Okay.
don't, but I personally think it makes sense to do that.
Was the original vote to give Stan the authority, or was it to give the chairman the authority?
Chairman. The
Yeah,
chairman.
I think you're covered already.
All
Yeah.
right, that sounds fine.
So it's on your shoulders, Bob.
Pardon me?
It's on your shoulders now, Bob.
Thank you, thank you. I'll practice my signature between now and when I get to town hall.
Thank you.
Jenny's
And
already
just
got
a reminder, during the health crisis, it will be done by email. So when I send the warrants out to the 3 of you, Bob, you can reply by email to approve it in lieu of a signature, and Anachka's okay with that.
Okay, thank you. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Well, this is great. I just get to slum now for the next year or so. You know, it's all on you, Bob. It's all on
All right.
you.
Could I have a motion to approve these bills and payroll warrants?
So moved.
Second,
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Roll call, Keith,
aye.
Waisaki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye. And do we have any minutes to review tonight?
We do. They are the minutes from June 25th, regular session. The only change that I made from the point that I sent them out is I added the star for Zoom and the language down at the bottom, just saying that you all weren't physically present.
Okay. Works for me.
Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So move.
So move. Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed?
Roll call, Keith,
Aye.
Wysocki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye.
Thank you.
And are there any other issues to bring to the board?
Not for me.
No.
All right, then. I thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Motion to adjourn, please.
Motion to
Oh,
adjourn.
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed?
Roll call, Keith,
Aye.
Wysocki,
Aye.
Sikansky.
Aye. All right,
Thank you.
thank you very much.
Good night,
Good night.
everyone.